welcome Pam Stryker and Susie Parkinson to the stage. Both work with Safer 3, and they're rewriting and simplifying the Safer 3 curriculum. They both have been teaching for over 40 years and have written multiple textbooks for the state of Texas and lectured to fellow teachers on how to be stronger educators. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I think we're using these. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'm impressed with this group, and we're here for a little different purpose. We're drylanders. So you guys are all out in the water, but of the kids that are near pools and stuff, there are a lot of them at this point that they aren't touched by you. And so Safer 3, what we're trying to do is get some curriculum that's into the schools, into the county, into clubs, into the different camps and stuff that kids can use and learn about this. And we're talking, so we're going to ask you guys to actually put on your 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old brains. Okay? You've been talking all this business stuff. You've been talking about how to get everybody together in a group. Now you're talking about the ones that are rubbing on your leg as you're talking and all this. So we're talking the little ones, okay? So how we got involved with this, my brother is Jim Spears, okay? And he asked us to look at the curriculum, and you never ask us to look at anything unless you really want our opinion. Okay, and so we looked at the curriculum, and there's some really good, strong things. There's a storyline, all that kind of stuff that draws people in and says yes. But we had some issues with the way it's presented because we're dealing with young children. We're dealing with those little ones that live by 3 rules, or several rules. If I can eat it, drink it, act it, do it, sing it, I can learn it, okay? And of those, you didn't hear a whole lot of just hear it, okay? So we got into this thing to help Jim out and to write this curriculum. Now, we love the introduction, but actually, the teaching for over 40 years, it's more like about 83 combined. Okay? We've been doing it a long time. And we both have been kindergarten teachers. So when we're looking at this, we're looking at this early education drowning prevention program. And that's the logo. You've seen them out at the table out there, our little characters that are there for Safer 3. And so we're building on that theme that goes there. So Safer Water is our first topic. Safer Kids, Safer Response. We saw that at the beginning this morning. The Safer 3, catch the wave and ride it is kind of our theme. So this is an ancient Chinese proverb, and it is an educator. I live by this. I hear and I forget. Also, as a teacher of 43 years, that is quite true. I hear it, I'm going to forget it. So I have to do more with it. I see it and I remember it, so the visual end, but when I do it, I finally understand it. I really get it. And that's what we have to do when we're talking about drown-proofing kids, making them safer around water. They need to understand it. Not just I heard that rule, you told me that, I'm memorizing it, I've got it. I need to understand what that means. So we kind of live by this when we write any curriculum that's there. Okay? Are you going? There we go. So the curriculum is still based on the original Safer 3 with we've got 5 topics, and the first topic is just developing an understanding of what a risk is and safety. Remember, we're dealing with 3- and 4-year-olds. So we need to identify risk, and we need to identify risks that are in their environment, things that are around their house. You know, not every one of these kids is going to have a pool in their backyard, but every one of the kids are going to have water in some form. And it could be the drainage ditch that's in the back. It could be the culvert that's there. It could be all sorts of stuff. So the kids just need to identify these risks and make it in their world. So we want to do that. We want to make them aware of different water sources and uses of water in their life, and then why the depth of the water is a risk. Topic 2, it's identifying and recognizing risks just in your own house and describing what they themselves can do to keep themselves safer. You know, not that I have to have somebody else, monitoring, but I shouldn't go in that water if I don't have somebody there. Topic 3, again, we're talking about safer kids, the dangers of swimming alone in an unsupervised area, learning proper behavior in and around water, I teach fifth graders right now. That whole learning proper behavior is a big deal in fifth grade. Understand the importance of learning how to swim. Explain the concept of what a safer response is and what kids can do. If I'm a 3-year-old, and you hear stories in the news all the time of these young children, kindergartners, that saved the day because they knew how to dial 911, they knew their phone number, they knew their address, and they could tell somebody that, right? I had a 5th grader couldn't call home last week because he didn't know his phone number. Okay, that's something we need to have all kids know. Okay, learn and practice safe responses. Learn and practice. We have fire drills at school. We ought to have these same kind of safety drills around water. Identify equipment that might be available to use in a rescue situation. You know, so what do you have? So identify the phone as a source. Also, know how to communicate important information like your name, address, and that, what happens. The final topic kind of rounds it all off, and it talks about, you know, again, a review of the risk and then being safer and developing a plan. You know, having an action plan. Just like you should have a fire plan, you should have any kind of disaster plan, you need to do that. Having kids make the watcher tags and take them home, hang them where their parents have them so they're around water. And finally, the kids taking the Safer 3 pledge. If you've looked at the curriculum before, they took the Safer 3 pledge in the very first topic. And we thought, you know what, you kind of need to know about it before you can take a pledge. So we've moved it to the very last. So if you've seen the curriculum, there are things you're going to recognize, but the things that are not are different. Okay, the way we designed a lesson, this is educators. We believe in constructivism. And what constructivism is, it is literally building block by block, Lego by Lego, the construction, the whole concept in their heads. Okay? We do this by doing it. Any one of you out there learn new concepts through experience. Okay, here's an example. Can you imagine learning to scuba dive? And somebody read you a great little book about a scuba diver that went down to the bottom of the ocean. And he used all this equipment, and they said, now put it on and go dive. How many of you are divers? Do you remember trying to keep a neutral buoyancy with all that equipment on? Do you remember that? And you're crashing down the bottom, and you're doing all this stuff trying to get it? That's an experience base. That's why you go and take lessons and get in the water and learn every bit of it. Well, any new concept, anything for adults, computer stuff that we're doing, a new camera that is digital camera that we haven't used, takes hands-on experience to construct the knowledge. Now we fall back on what we already knew about old cameras and what I already knew about swimming and what I already knew about the fact that I can't breathe water. I took that into consideration when I learned to dive and when I learned to do photography. But I built on it with this new experience-based learning. So all of this is taken less out of just the reading and the talking and more simulations to put kids in the situation. We're not a classroom, I don't have a pool. So how can I simulate that to make it real for these kids? Okay? So we came up with a lesson design. It's called the 7E. If any of you have been around educational jargon, the 5E has been one of the ways to introduce science for years. And it's based on this constructivism. First of all, you have to engage your learner. You guys know that. You have to get people interested. We've been doing all these cool things to engage people. You have a joke up there. You have something. And that sets their mind and gets them started. Then you explore the concept, explain it, elaborate on it, extend it a little more, evaluate the understanding of it, and finally our last E, which we think is the most important one for this, you take it and educate someone about what you've just learned. If you can't explain it to somebody else, you really don't understand it. And so that educate is a huge component in this. So we start out with engage, okay? Engage is to access your prior knowledge and to engage the learners through short activities that promote curiosity. You have a blue bag in your, on your tables, and if you will look at that blue bag, inside of it you have a water bottle, okay? So, as an educator, I know that there's all too often the kids, we talk and we say, well, what do you know about this and what do you know about that? And they're trying to pull it out of this brain, and then they're looking at the window and the bird flying around and, you know, looking at that. If you want kids to focus on water, put something in front of them. So we have our little Safer 3 labels on here, and there's a water bottle, and we want to know about water. What better way to have a 3, 4, 5-year-old talk about water than to have water in their hands? Okay? So at your table, pass your water bottle. You may want to crack it open. Somebody takes them out so you can move it around, watch it, and just do some observations. You've got 60 seconds. Go. Look at the water. What can you do with it? What do you notice about it? Okay? Take a drink, open it, then somebody keeps the water bottle. Oh, I see Jim spinning it. You can do things with spinning it. I see people tipping it. I see people swirling it. So what's an important thing about water? Somebody yell it out really loud. Can you yell it? Somebody? It's wet, right? What else?
Tastes good.
Tastes good, okay? What do you notice that it does when you move the water bottle?
It travels to the place of least resistance.
Oh, I'm sure every 4-year-old is going to say it travels to the place of least resistance. Yes. Where's that 4-year-old brain? Okay, what else? It bubbles. I can make it bubble, right? You can take this and give them a bowl. Let them pour it out. Let them pour it into another container. And all the things that they need to understand just as an engage. Because what we're going to be learning about is water and being safer around water. So then you start extending to that with, how do you describe it? Where have you seen water at home? Every young child can talk about that. And we start making charts. So if you look over there, because part of education is having it visually in front of them as long as you can. And part of education is constructing that idea as you go along. So as they say, oh, there's water in my toilet. There's water in my dog's bowl. There's water in my sink, in my tub, the curriculum calls it a spa. How many of you call it a hot tub instead of a spa? Okay, lots of you. So, yeah, you can use the word that's correct for yours. There's some in Barton Creek behind my house. So you do that. Then you go on and you talk about things that you would do in water. Okay? And you just start it. All this does is have kids start thinking about water. Okay? Now, the Explore. We're all here about helping kids be safer around water, especially around pools, or creeks, or lakes, or those kinds of things, the deeper water situation. So when we do the Explore, we have a common base of activities that we can all have and then talk about. And so these are helping us develop that concept, and the kids are engaged in what they're doing. So we're going to ask you to help us out. If I had a group of 4, 5, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, I would take something like a blue blanket, and I would spread it out on the floor, and I would build a safer pool. And in that time, I would construct around it using kids. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. You're going to imagine that you're going to have a blue blanket, and you're going to group with another table or so you get a nice group, and you are going to form a safe, secure fence. You're all tall. You're taller than you had than the little 3- and 4-year-olds. So what I want to see you is in kind of a rectangle or an oval together, locked together to make a fence, kind of like we did the holding hands. Would everybody join with a couple of groups, find an open space, and let's do this? You're not sitting there and getting sleepy. Come on, up you go.
So I probably could give each.
Okay?
If they're combined, I could pass these out.
Okay. Okay. You guys guys can even have the blanket, because you're right, you can grab the blanket.
Yeah, you guys can get on the blanket around.
Okay.
Y'all come get around the blanket. And y'all are going to use
Here
this
we
in a
go.
minute.
And I have my demonstration group right here. At one point, everybody got your groups?
Y'all are going to use this in a minute, okay? That'll be your...
When I say for 3, you say yes and look at me. Say for 3.
Y'all are
My
going to
turn.
use this cup.
Okay?
in a second.
So I'm going to take you two ladies, and you are going
Y'all
to
are gonna
actually
use this in
become
a
a
minute.
gate. Okay? And so a gate can open, and a gate can shut. So find 2 people
we're
at
gonna
your
use this in
group
a
that
minute.
can become a gate.
Hold on to that.
Okay? And a gate can open,
Y'all are going to use
and
this
a
in
gate
minute.
can
Little sister.
shut. Okay? Now, do we have a
y'all are
tall
gonna use this in a
pool,
minute.
a tall fence around our pool, or a barrier around our pool? Would you agree? Okay? And some of the guys have their large spaces between their legs, so some 4-year-old can come through there. So, is
want
it
a
tight
bigger
enough?
group?
And do you have the spaces between so no 4-year-old can get in? Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the dog is good for the kiddie pool. You'll use this in a minute.
Say for 3. Oh, you guys are great. Okay, so, gates, will you open? Right now, do
need a
we
gate
have
to
a
open.
secured
There you go.
pool? No. Gates close. Right now, do we have a secured pool? No, we don't. We don't. We don't have a lock. So figure out and put your fingers together like this with that person and lock that gate. Now do we have a secure pool?
Yes.
Yes. So what makes a secured pool is to have a barricade around it and to have a gate that locks, okay? And so we give that concept to the kids. And then we start talking about, well, now you have your fence, and now you have your gate, and now you have your lock. What do you do in situations where something may happen? Your kite flew into the pool. So you're near the child now, so break the fence, and you guys join the fence, and you're out there, and your kite went into the pool. What are you going to do?
Cry.
Cry. He's going to cry. So you start talking about, is it okay to crawl over the fence? Is it okay to go test, see if it's locked? Open, unlock. Oh, can't get in. Okay, what if it was unlocked? Would it be okay to go in there? No. And so the kids act out these scenarios, okay? So in your blue bag,
I gave them all an object too.
okay, you all have an object, okay? And so the scenarios that we have, if we look at this, I would like one person to fall out to be the child. Okay, one person fall out, be the child. Okay, close that fence. Okay, child. Look at the object you have. Who has the ball? Who has the ball? Okay?
Tennis ball.
The ball bounces in. Okay? Say for 3. Okay. Shh. Here we go. If you look up here, here's the scenarios we would give the kids. They would pull a card out of a bag. The ball bounces in the water. Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And what does a small child want to do? Go get the ball. So the whole time you have them act these out. So child in each group, look for your scenario up there, and I want you to do full active drama to act it out. Okay? Got it? Okay. Quiet on the set. Action. Okay, cut. I see people running around the fence, trying to get through the fence. What should we do? We've got to give them some tools. What do they need to do? Okay, another person fall out. You're the adult. Okay, make the fence. Another person fall out. Okay, rewind. Now we have an adult. Adult, do what adults do. You may be in the house cooking. You may be, reading the paper. Adults, do what adults do, okay?
I'm your...
Child, go. Action, go. Yeah, you're supposed to help him.
You have to get her and go, come on.
Okay, cut. Cut. In a classroom, you have a lot more control than with you guys. Okay. But in the classroom, then you can stop action. And I use in my classroom, I use quiet on the set, action, cut scene. Yeah, we use that, and that's our terms for when we want to stop action and say, who do we need to help us? Okay? Oh, we need an adult. Okay, you out of the group, you're the adult. What is the adult going to do to help us? Okay? So the kids are role-playing this over and over and over again. If you have your whole class and you have a bag of, I think we have 12 scenarios, that's a lot of action. And all the kids get to be either an adult or a child or a fence or a gate, and you can change it up as much as you want to. But they are actively involved in making choices. Not reading a story about it, not hearing it secondhand. They're actively involved in doing that. So we're building understanding with an explorer. You guys were great sports. If you will just put those objects on the table, we'll pick them up, okay? Okay.
And Pam.
So.
Pam, tell them about writing a scenario.
Huh?
Remind them to write the scenario.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you for getting back really quickly. I know Jim's really worried. He keeps saying, now you have 8 more minutes. Now you have this. I tend just to talk a little bit because I'm so shy. The Safer 3 has some amazing songs, and we know that music is the way to most people's hearts. I mean, you think of all the products that are branded with music and songs, right? And those are great. As we looked at the curriculum and we're working with Jim, we discovered that some of the lyrics in those songs, love the melodies, some of the lyrics are geared to the parents. So one of the things we've done is we've rewritten those lyrics and we're getting them in the process of being re-recorded. But there's also just on the spur of the moment, right then, sing a song. Okay, most teachers don't know the complicated lyrics. So there are these processes called piggyback songs. So you piggyback on old tunes like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, right? How many of you use those tunes for swimming lessons? You have songs for floating. Yeah, you guys got that. You know that. So this would be the one, and it's to that B-I-N-G-O, B-I-N-G-O, right? So I'll read it. I'll sing the first verse, and then I want you to sing it, okay? And then we'll all sing the second verse so you can kind of get the beat, okay? The fence is up around the pool to protect my little sister. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. The fence is protecting you too. Okay? Kelly, they can sing it. Okay, you can do the next one with me? My dog just flashed into the pool. Woof, woof, look at him swimming. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. He'll come out when he's ready. Okay? So, each scenario would have a verse. So this just reinforces it, and this sticks in their little heads. And they go home and sing it. Okay? So, if you, while we're presenting, have an impulse to go with your scenario, you have Post-it notes in your bag that you could write a new verse to go with your scenario, and you could post it over on the charts over there. And you could also post a new scenario, and here's why I want that. You're the experts on danger around water. So you may have one that we didn't have up there, and you may say, oh, we actually need to make one about this and have an object. So we have some charts for those, and those are our parking lots over there where we park our ideas. The third parking lot is over there. It's anything that you think needs to be in the curriculum we may not have thought about, because we're in the process of rewriting the whole thing. Then those parking lots right over there, you can take the Post-it notes. So if you get a hankering for doing some lyrics, put it over there. If you've got an idea for a scenario, put it over there. If you have an idea for the curriculum, put it over there. Second grade, 7-year-olds would be writing their own lyrics after we introduce the first two. They can do that. Okay? First graders can do that. A little harder with 3 and 4-year-olds. You know, they can't, the rhyming thing is kind of beyond them and stuff. So that's how we would end the explore. Now the explain. The explain is where you add the vocabulary, you add, the kids explain what they now understand so they could tell you about what they can do and can't do. That's that big chart back there. See that big chart with the giraffe? By the way, in a 12-foot pool, a giraffe is the only thing that could stand on the bottom and still have his nose out of water. Okay? Hence the giraffe sticking out of water, right? So what you have down here, you have each one of your kids take adding machine tape, register tape, lay down, cut a piece that's exactly their height.
These are third graders, by the way. I had some of my kids make them, so that's about where that age comes.
And then they have a circle, right? And they color their face, and they, like if the register tape's here, they glue it, the top of the head is even with the top of the register tape, because you don't want to have a head on top, because that makes them taller. And you have all the kids do that, and then you say, okay, look at the 3-foot mark. Is your nose above water there? Look at the 5-foot mark. Look at the 12-foot mark.
It's not.
Okay? And it's really fun to pick a local basketball player that they all like on one of the pro teams and put that person's height. And if you look at the 5-foot, they're going to be only about 2 feet above it.
About there.
So the only thing that can stand on the bottom of a 12-foot, deep 12-foot deep pool is going to be a giraffe. And we don't have many of those taking swimming lessons these days. So, so that gets it real to them. And this can be out in the hall. You could have teachers do it. In fact, when we do Susie, if we put Susie there, her nose is not out of the 5-foot water. Unless she's on her toes. It's there, okay? So why do this? If I'm a child looking at a pool, the surface is flat, right? It's absolutely flat. And so I can see it's a darker blue, and I can see numbers, but honestly, Piaget, who is, about child learning, Piaget will tell you that kids cannot conserve numbers that big when they're young. So when you say, oh, the water's 12 foot deep, they have no idea what you're talking about and how that relates to them. So part of what we want to do is show them that's how much water would be above your head if you were there. And so we're trying to make it real, okay? Other things that we would do is we'd have them identify where water is around school and the house and the yard, and they'd make a book about it. And so they have it localized. And when we say localized, some of you are next to the coast. So you need to talk about the beach. Some of you are next to Lake Travis in Austin. You have to talk about things that are around you. Also, demonstrate the dangers of shallow water really easily. If this is my nose, right? Anybody ever play that game where you steal somebody's nose? And have a bowl of water and put your nose in the water and say, how deep does the water have to be for you to drown? It only has to be this deep. And they need to see that it's not just 12-foot water that's dangerous. It's the water that's in the bucket, the water that's in the tub outside. There's such as this. So we're just trying to give them those visual images so that they can do that. So, where are you? There we are. For the older kids, can you see the water bottle right there? That is what Susie has right here.
We'll pass them around.
And we'll pass them around, but the cool thing is, water will always have, the surface of the water will be parallel to the horizon, parallel to the ground, right? So if you just look at the surface of the water, it's going to look the same everywhere. You can't see depth. So what we do is we take the water bottle and we put it so it's all even, and then we tip it, and it still shows that it is much deeper. Let's have a laser thing. Much deeper at one end than it is at the other, and that's the way a pool is made.
Pass that around.
So you can't be sure about how deep it is. So these are just examples. Then we have, from the curriculum, we're still using some of the wonderful illustrations and wonderful ideas that are in there. We're still using those too. Okay, come on. Elaborate. Elaborate is to provide a new experience, to deepen your concept, to broaden your understanding of it. So when you start doing this, this is where we introduce and use the Safer 3 book. Now, one of the things we're in the process of is doing a little revision on this, because librarians want to use this book. They want to use it as a reading center. And right now, the Lexile level on this is about 7th grade. And so we have done some revision on the text, still same storyline, but made it easier to read, that we're going to be working on there. And then they have to have the character puppets, and they have the Safer 3 hat, which identifies those so that they can start learning just the names of the characters that are there. So we have lots of project headbands. Then it is so much fun to see a whole bunch of little kids coming out in these, and your mom saying, "What is that for?" As soon as you say that, versus you handing a letter that says, "Dear parent, your child has been studying about da-da-da-da," that doesn't get their attention. This gets their attention, right? And so they start talking about what they're doing with that, okay? So that they can share with their family. There we go. So these are the things that are in there. The other thing, and we're going to play one of them at the end, is the actual songs. And the kids need to have access to those songs and playing with them. Okay, extending what you understand. So extending it, did I skip elaborate?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, okay.
That was the puppets.
That was the puppets.
And the book.
Extend means that, this is an E we added. Susie and I, teaching kindergarten for years, realized that if they can do it in math with patterning, if they can do it in different areas, it just reinforces that concept more and more and more. So this is where you make booklets, you do different things that are in, that they can actually take home. So here's an example of Build a Safer Pool. Looks really complicated. It's one piece of paper. They cut a square out of each corner, they fold it up, and they color it, and they make the actual fence around it, and they take it home and they explain it. Then you can have them make little finger puppets and act the scenarios out. Very easy paper, but they can redo it over and over and over again. Exploring different bodies of water. One of the things in working on this curriculum we've realized is we have to localize it. What is in California and Arizona is different than what's in Houston and Austin. Houston, you got bayous you have to worry about. You know, I was raised in New Orleans, you had to worry about those a lot. Acting out new scenarios, put the rug down again and let's act out something different. Having that over and over again. And then connecting it whenever you can to writing and to mathematics. So here's some of the ideas we have in the Extend. The headband that you see at the bottom, right there, can you see it looks like this one, takes pictures of where is there water in your house. And so the kids make it, and they walk around the school. These are little kids, and your staffs will go for this. You give each one a little sheet of stars. And the child goes up and says, "Let me tell you about how to be safer around water. If the bathtub's still full of water, you shouldn't leave it sitting there. Pull it and drain it." And when they explain it nicely, they get a star. And they go around and explain these to one person after another after another. Okay, sorry, you can't take that big chart home with the giraffe, but you can make a flip book. And the flip book looks like this, so that you have all the water depths like this, and here's the child, and you have graph paper, and they measure themselves, and they cut themselves exactly the right height, then you give them graph paper to go home, and they measure each member of the family and put every member of the family in here. Okay? So it is now not, here, look at this, I've got homework. I want to see where my 5th grade brother is in the water. I want to see where my dad is in the water. And so they take this home and they can create it, and that's over there. Just identifying the Safer 3 characters, just simply having them color them, that's an easy activity, but then painting over it with watercolor, because we constantly want to talk about the water that's there. And then, of course, sink and float, right? We've got to do the sink and float stuff, because kids need to know, what can I throw in the pool in an emergency that will float, that somebody can grab hold of? So you want to do the sink and float. Can I have the emergency plan?
Yes.
Yeah. Here is our emergency action plan. The kids need to make one. Emergency action plan. And at the very top, when they take it home, it says 911, so they can practice it. And they talk about, with their parents, they draw what equipment's available. They talk about who's going to be supervising. They talk about the plan and who to call and what to do. So the kids have this and for their parents, so they can go over it. So
That's for really young
and
kids.
for little kids, like where, do you see the one that says bathroom and it kind of kitchen right there? They're going on a water search in their house. So what they do is they make binoculars. These are toilet tissue rolls. And they walk around and they search for water all around. It just makes it more real. Besides, it's really fun to watch them do it. They walk around like this, yeah, so like that. So that's, that's the extent. We want it to go deeper and more. Evaluate is where you want the students demonstrate to you their understanding. So one of the evaluate things is to just talk about risk and safety in their everyday life, not just about water. Because kids take a lot of risk just in playing. So it's really important for them to do it. So we came around and put some odd objects on your table. You may have a box of Band-Aids. You may have earmuffs, goggles, gloves, helmets. Can you find that kind of in the center of your table? Some sunglasses, sunscreen.
If you can't find that, you can use this.
Yeah. Okay, so again, just like the water bottle, you put things in the kid's hands and the child has to identify how that object keeps them safer from what risk. Okay, so very quickly at your table, because you're sitting there going, oh, it's nearly lunchtime, I'm about to die. I want you to talk about your object really quickly. Okay, what is your object? Now, up, say for 3. Put on your 3- and 4-year-old brains, okay? Go. Susie, go stand by the table so the mic will pick up the people talking, okay? And we'll go, we'll have them talk. Okay. Susie's going to walk around, and because she has her mic on, and you're going to explain how your object would make you safer, and you're going to have to say from what risk, okay? So go. Oh, you got to wait so Susie can get here.
Under the water, so I can see around the pool and find the wall.
Okay, I use those in my classroom, so why would I have them in my classroom? There's no water. You're right, what you said's right, but can you think of something else?
Keep things from splashing in your eyes.
Exactly.
Okay.
In the pool or in the classroom.
So he has safety goggles, and if you didn't have, he said, at first to keep water out of my eyes in the pool. Wasn't that your first one?
Yes.
And then Susie said, well, I use them in my classroom, though, and there's no water. So what they are, and then you said to keep it from splashing. So they're safety goggles, basically what they are, okay?
And what do you have?
I have something that won't burn my hands when I pick up a hot pot.
All right. So an oven mitt will protect your hands from hot objects.
That's right.
Awesome. Good job.
Okay, awesome. So we won't go around for everybody. Yeah, we won't do that for everybody because you guys, get the idea on what it is. But these are common things. Susie and I walked around the house.
I want to know about these things.
Oh, okay. Maybe they can explain it.
Anybody talk about this at your table?
To protect your tushy from the elements.
To protect your pool water.
Yes. Okay. So when you do an evaluation, it does not mean test. It does not mean give these kids pencil and paper and circle the safer things that are there. Because when they do that, they are not as engaged in the process. So you want to give them a scenario and say, what's the risk? What's the safe thing to do here? You want to give them an object. You want to make it absolutely real to these little kids. In Evaluate up here, we have students make headbands, books to explain risk, about water. Every one of these go home so the kids can see them. The kids share their information with you. They have to have that emergency action plan. And my evaluation is, Sam, come up here. What's your phone number? And you have your cell phone? Pretend you're calling 911. Here's another interesting thing. You should have mock-ups or plastic old phones that are dial phones and punch button phones. The reason is kids don't know how to use them anymore. The kind with a cord, they go. I watched a child in our office try to call home because mom hadn't gotten home yet, and that child could not figure out how to punch button the phone and how to hold the phone so he could talk into it. And he was like 9. The other thing how many of you could actually right now list on a piece of paper everybody in your family's phone number?
You punch on your phone.
Not number 3. Okay? Most people, we've gotten so easy that we just hit call Jim, call this, that we don't even have those numbers memorized. So there's a good reason our kids don't know them, because they don't access them. So we have to have them practice and practice on different tools, because cell phones aren't always what you have. You know, you might have something else that might be at grandma's house and she still has the old phone, you know. Another big evaluate is the Watchers tags. So the kids would make water watchers, Watt watchers. I'm also in that program where we actually watch the watts of electricity. But water watcher tags, you know, beads, macaroni, you got to make it kid friendly, but make it big, bright, bold, and accessible. And then the kids will go home and tell their parents, this is what I need you to wear. And it doesn't necessarily need to be around a pool. 3- and 4-year-olds, where should the parents be watching? Where? Bathtubs. What about kiddie pools? Yeah. Yeah, all of those, so the kids need to know it is not just if you have a big pool that you need to do that, but you need to be watching them all around. Okay? So here's the evaluation with the objects that are there. Here's the 911. Here's the Sammy Says, and that is where the kids would make little rules. Always have your mom around. And you can see that we have a lot of things in the curriculum. These are not difficult to make. They're folded piece of paper with slits, but they're kids' ideas that are written on them. Kids' action plans. Kids, so that the input into this is all through experiences and learning. Okay, educate. Educate is where they take it home. One point of educate is they will take a letter home to their parents saying what they're doing and why. You know, because sometimes when a 4-year-old explains, you say, what did you just do? And they go, nothing. I didn't do anything. But they will also have an interactive component that if they wear their headband, their parents are going to put stars on it and they bring it back. So you know they shared it with those parents, and you have some kind of indication of what happened when it went home. They're going to talk about the action plan. It's going to be blank on the inside, and they're going to have to sit down and write that, and then there's going to be maybe a little checklist on the back on how many times they practiced it and role-played it, because that's necessary in this. They're going to make their water watcher tags and be able to explain to parents. So what do you do with the kids? You role play it. You're mom, you're the child, you're going home with your tag, act it out. They have to practice those scenarios. One of the things we learned teaching kindergarten is we used to have them practice making 911 calls because they just don't know what to do. They freeze. But if they practice it and they understand it, it's just a natural thing to do. It's just like stop, drop, and roll. I'm notorious at the beginning of the year when I go over, I now teach 5th grade safety, science. And I'm notorious when I go over the rules, safety rules in science and talking about working around open flames, okay? So we all know if your shirt catches fire, you should stop, drop, and roll, right? Right? But how do we practice it? Okay, you're on fire. Everybody stop, drop, and roll. In reality, what happens? Ah! And you run around and the flames go like this, right? So I walk around with felt flames. You never know when they're going to come out. Lunch line, recess, and I slap them on that child, and that child better stop, drop, and roll till they fall off. So it gets them in the real situation. So what we're hoping happens as we write this curriculum and get everything into it, that what we're going to do is make it real for a 4-year-old. Not today. We talked about the Safer 3. We talked about what to do around water, but we acted it out. We even are writing one where we can eat it. We're building a safer pool out of graham crackers, rice checks, gummy lifesavers for the flotation devices, Sour Patch Kids to be the parents, and gummy bears to be the kids. And so they can act, and we found string licorice and Cheerios make a great rope with the buoys on it. And so we're building, we didn't bring that today, but they're going to be able to eat it, sing it, act it, do it, repeat it, and learn it. And that's the plan for ours. So there's the ideas. The Keep It Safer book that you see right there in the back is where kids will just go, little kids, 3- and 4-year-olds, their drawings tend to look like this, you know. So they'd look in magazines for sources of water, and then the teacher would help them talk about what they could do to keep it safer. And then you've seen the other things that are on there. The parent letter's at the back. That's right there. Okay? So the big idea is catch the wave, educate our kids, make sure that you see it, do it, and understand it for their level. Make sure they understand what it means with safer water, safer kids, and safer response. Okay? And it will be out sometime when we finish writing it. Any questions? We have a couple of minutes and then it's lunch. Any questions for us? Yes.
Really, everybody in here really cares about this. And we really need your help, and I know that we're all thrilled to have you do this for us.
Well, I hope what you just saw is what you were looking for, because that's the direction, and that's where that parking lot's for. If you have ideas and suggestions and stuff, put it on the parking lot, because we are in the process of working on it. Okay? Anybody else?
Yes, Simon would like to show you how he ends his presentation.
Okay.
After the kids are all there listening, there's safer water, safer kids, safer response,
and I will either split them up into two groups and have them shout back and forth at each other with my help at first, and then they get louder and louder doing it on their own. So I will say, safer water. You all say, shut the gate. I will say, safer kids. You all say, swim so great. I will say, safe response. You will say, throw, don't go. I will say, safer 3, and you will all say, now we know. And I'll help you with that. I won't just leave you out there. So, safer water.
Show the gate.
Yeah, there's also motions to go with it, just so you can act it out. So, safer water.
Shut the gate.
Safer kids.
Swim so great.
Safe response. Throw,
don't go.
I don't know what this next one is. Safer 3.
Now you know.
That one I don't do.
Awesome. Love that. Yes. Okay. As we end this, if you would just leave the objects on the table. I did forget to say in your bag, by the way, are a few lifesavers. So if you want to refresh yourselves, they're wintergreen. And no, I don't care if you take them, shut the lights off, and see if they spark in the dark. You know about that, right? You know that if you bite a wintergreen lifesaver in the dark, you can see it spark. Take one and try it, okay?